debate it. Catalonia's leaders, however, maintain that the vote was valid and will stand. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a pair of Republican lawmakers are calling on the Trump administration to release all records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Representative Walter Jones of North Carolina introduced a resolution in the House that would call on President Donald Trump to allow the National Archives and Record Administration to release any remaining documents related to Kennedy's assassination in Dallas in 1963. Jones said in a release from his office, "To me, the tragedy that took place in Dallas continues to raise many questions that go unanswered. After 54 years, there's no reason, for the sake of honesty and integrity in America, that the facts of the JFK assassination should not be made public." A companion resolution was introduced in the Senate by Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa. The evidence surrounding JFK's assassination has long been fodder for conspiracy theorists who do not believe the conclusions reached in an 888-page report authored by then Chief Justice Earl Warren, which said Kennedy's killing was the work of a lone assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, who opened fire from the 6th floor of the Texas Schoolbook Depository on Kennedy's open-top limousine. The issue of still withheld JFK records was nearly put to bed in 1992 when former President George H.W. Bush signed legislation ordering all JFK-related records to be released. The legislation contained a loophole, however. Records were ordered released unless the strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise. The decision over which documents to keep classified lies solely with each subsequent occupant of the Oval Office. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. And of course, it's covered by the BIPCOT no-gov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada postponed the trial of rancher Cliven Bundy for his role in an armed standoff with U.S. government agents after defense lawyers argued that the Las Vegas mass shooting could influence jurors. The case against Bundy stems from a 2014 situation in which he is alleged to have led a revolt against federal authorities at his ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada, about 75 miles northeast of Las Vegas. Brett Whipple told Reuters that U.S. District Judge Gloria Navarro in Las Vegas granted the delay for Bundy and several co-defendants, including his sons, who are accused of conspiracy, assault, and other charges. The trial was set to begin next week in Las Vegas federal court, and Navarro granted a delay until October 30th. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In what medical authorities are calling one of the worst ointment complications in White Plains Hospital's history, area girlfriend Caroline Nagler was rushed to the ER this week after suffering an extreme overdose of scented lotion. With a blood lotion level of 0.45, hospital sources confirmed that Nagler had rubbed onto her body 4 times the lethal limit of shea butter, green tea cleanses, and naturally soothing mineral therapies.
Even putting aside the sheer level of lotion Miss Nagler had on her person when she arrived at the ER, this was an especially lethal combination she was using. She was mixing scented moisturizers, age-defying serums, and even some harder stuff like jojoba and essential fruit extracts. Frankly, she's lucky to be alive.
In other news, Beijing's air solidifies. A Delta Airlines counteragent assures a man he will never see his family again. And a mannequin must think he's some pretty hot. They say if you love something, let it go. But how could we possibly leave you behind after being blessed with a relationship as unique and complex as this one? For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and it's the live Sunday edition of the program. As always, you can take control of the airwaves and bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype So you're welcome to Skype into the show. Skype username LRN.FM. And, of course, you can bring up whatever you want. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Johnny Ray.
And Mark.
Last night, busy night on the phones, as it typically is on a Saturday night. Of course, we take your calls first and foremost. But I wanted to continue a discussion that we'd just barely begun last night, which was about Cameroonian independence. We've been talking a lot about Catalonia recently here on Free Talk Live. And there's
news.
It gets
a lot more press.
And there's news about that, too.
Yep.
There have been a lot of people in the streets in Catalonia, and now the people who've been in the streets previously were the ones who wanted Catalonia in Spain to break away. Now the people who want Catalonia to stay in Spain are also hitting the streets in Catalonia. So that's the update there. We'll tell you more about that coming up here a little bit later tonight. Of course, you're welcome to join us here toll free at 855-450, free like freedom. But what's happening in Cameroon has already gotten violent, with the government killing at least 17 people recently. October 1st, the English speakers in Cameroon, which tend to congregate in sort of the western, southwestern area of, it's an awkwardly shaped nation, but kind of the bulge in the west there, they are declaring their independence, and they want nothing to do with the Cameroonian national government at this point. And as you might expect, as happened in Spain, the troops got a little agitated. They started to hurt people.
Why don't you love us? Why don't you love your government?
Blam! Yeah, they killed people in this case. I don't know how many died in Spain. I had not heard any numbers about that. But in Cameroon, there's definitely some dead bodies. And according to the story over at IOL, this is a South African website, thousands of protesters in Cameroon defied a ban on public gatherings to descend, sounds like Venezuela. They did that for a time there recently. To descend upon the streets of their towns and villages holding white and blue flags, the symbol for people in southern Cameroon, or as they call themselves, Ambazonia. That's Ambazonia. And in case you're wondering, yes, there already is a website for Ambazonia, and it's a concept that actually dates back to the 1980s. They called for freedom, and at least 17 people died, and scores were injured in a face-off with Cameroon's military. Almost 60 years after independence, English speakers in the southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon are calling for independence from the French-speaking majority in Cameroon. While we are demanding the need for further decolonization in South Africa, there are fellow Africans literally fighting each other for their right over their colonial heritage. He says it couldn't get any more odd. But like everything else on this dear continent, the issue is a lot more complex. A tale of colonial blunders and post-independence insecurity and authoritarianism. Today, the Anglophone speakers complain that the French majority discriminate and prevent them from employment and business opportunities. They use language, that is, French, as a means to dominate and exclude, even though English is meant to be an official language. And as I gave you recently an example of the attorneys, for instance, that they might provide you as the state, if you're charged with something, in many places will provide you with a state-appointed attorney. Well, if you're an English speaker, you get a French language attorney. Good luck figuring that one out.
Yeah. Now, one thing I would say is that I understand if somebody's running a business and doesn't want to hire somebody who doesn't speak their language, right? Like if, whatever that small business might be. But if you're talking about sort of the government and not representing a good portion of your people because, well, you just want to exclude them, you want to
exclude them, but keep them in the country, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to provide you with any services that are useful to you, but you're useful to us.
Yeah.
So we want to keep you around
That's
here.
that tax base, right?
Activists say French has become the official language of the courts and of the schools. I remember seeing a picture from one of the schools where you have a Francophone and an Anglophone, or a French and English teacher, in the same room trying to teach at the same time.
Makes no sense.
Can you imagine how conflicted and confusing a situation like that might be? French penal codes have replaced English common law. English speakers have been pushed into a corner, adapt and assimilate, or become obsolete. As it turns out, these are matters deeply tied to the colonial period in which European countries, greedy for labor and resources, cut and shaved African nations and molded them at will. First,
Right.
Germany took Cameroon, it's spelled Kamerun back then, in 1884, and following its defeat in World War I, the League of Nations divided Cameroon between Britain and France. As a result, both territories developed with a different currency, political culture, and legal and educational systems. In the French-controlled regions, power came directly from Paris, whereas the British preferred less intensive indirect rule. This is the nature of colonialism. It was an all-encompassing system of social and political life. But then, when independence came, colonial entities still somehow ensured that their divide-and-rule legacy would stick. In early 1960, Cameroon achieved, now spelled Cameroon, achieved independence from France. In October of 1961, the English-speaking regions, also known as the Southern and Northern Cameroons, achieved their independence from Britain. Most people in southern Cameroon wanted independence, but this option was erased from the referendum. They were told they could either join Nigeria or Cameroon. Northern Cameroon subsequently joined Nigeria, and southern Cameroon joined Cameroon. Almost immediately, Cameroon's government looked to assert control over southern Cameroon. There was also a move to consolidate a one-party state and rising authoritarianism that culminated in the end of federalism in 1972. Henceforth, all power in Cameroon would be centralized. And we all know that with centralization comes fun.
Yeah, that's always... Well, you know, there's certain efficiencies that come with centralization, but it doesn't tend to provide good customer service. And
this is the worst. Can't even talk to these people.
Right.
Recent protests...
Right. This is... What's happening here is some people are like, hey, our government can't even understand our language. And... we just would like to go ahead and do this on our own. And then the government comes and shoots them. Okay?
Yep.
I mean, it's the lowest form of customer service. If you're out there screaming about Walmart and how they do this or that bad thing, by God, you don't even understand. The government can't protect you. This is what it does.
Movements for independence rose in the 70s and 90s, just as on Sunday there were declarations of independence in both 1999 and 2009, none of which have any legal basis, but they were carried out anyway. Recent protests that started the latest call for independence began late last year, and lawyers in the English-speaking areas took to the streets to call for British common law to be used in the justice system. However, they were ignored. When the protests spread to schools and businesses and boycotts grew, so much so that these regions were deserted and dubbed ghost towns, the intimidation and crackdown on demonstrators intensified. There were dozens of deaths, hundreds of detentions and arrests. The internet was cut for more than 90 days. The government agreed to open a dialogue, but these attempts failed too. Yet none of this is particularly surprising for Cameroon. This is a country that has become increasingly antagonistic towards dissent over the past decade. Journalists have been jailed, dissent has been repeatedly quashed, and under the guise of fighting terror, sound familiar? This government and its security forces have been able to get away with a litany of dubious behavior towards its own. Their salient role in the fight against Boko Haram and Europe's fear of losing business to China has granted Cameroon a reprieve from international scrutiny, so much so that Cameroon's President Paul Biya, who has been there since like 1980, just pretends that none of these issues even exist. The question is not whether a free Anglophone state should exist. This is a debate which Anglophones are having themselves, and is not for me, says the author here, to prescribe. What is clear is that as the people grow more frustrated and feel increasingly ignored, the desire for an independent state or for a return to federalism will only grow, and no amount of repression, curtailing of rights, or communication will halt that. And as we saw in Catalonia recently, the oppression actually moves people against the state.
It certainly does. There are people that have now changed their minds in Cameroon about how they feel about staying with the government because they're, people they know have been shot.
So that's the latest from Cameroon. You're welcome to share your thoughts. Take control of the airwaves here, whether you want to talk about secession or whatever happens to be on your mind. On the way tonight, we got Jonny Ray's Game of the Whenever. He's got a new game that he's into, so he'll tell us about that. And you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Join us right here on the radio waves. We're talking about independence. It's not just happening in Catalonia, with the Catalan region supposedly declaring independence tomorrow. Thousands protesting in the streets there today. And not just there, but also in Cameroon, where 17 people have died at the hands of the state security forces as they crack down on independence protests, as the Cameroonians in sort of western, southwest, northwest Cameroon have gone ahead and declared their independence yet again. It's not the first time it's happened. And, of course,
I think it's just best to call this West Cameroon.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, in the news they call it North and Southwest Cameroon, but it is basically just the western bulge, if you will, of the state.
Yeah.
Anyway, so interesting stories. We're going to give you more information. You can share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Of course, I love seeing any kind of secessionist movement. I think it's fantastic. I don't like to see the violence that's associated with it, but unfortunately, these states, as we know them, these nation states, are not going to go quietly into the night. They're not going to relinquish their power voluntarily in many cases, and they're going to make it an uncomfortable and possibly dangerous process to try to leave.
Yeah, I got to say that when secession doesn't whip me up the way it does you, and I think that to some extent you just like the chaos of it.
No, absolutely not. I like the idea of freedom. I like the idea of more independence. I like the idea of decentralization.
What evidence do you have that secession gives you freedom?
I didn't say it would give you freedom. I said that
you said you like the freedom.
In our case, we would get more freedom out of it because those of us in New Hampshire,
you wouldn't be able to leave the state.
I'm sorry, what would make you say that? Are you saying that...
How are you going to travel outside of the state of New Hampshire?
Well, there's boats, there's planes, there's cars. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can walk.
You want to fly out. The United States isn't going to let... If you just secede from the United States, they're not going to let you out. They're not going to let you drive through.
So you think they're going to blockade the port?
Doesn't that sound reasonable?
Well, I mean, who knows how they're going to handle it, Mark, but obviously, there's a lot of fear factor around secession, and certainly looking at governments and how desperate they are to keep people where they are is understandable why people would be afraid. But I think that ultimately devolving power from centralized structures is a worthy effort.
Agreed.
And if it can be done here in, let's say, New Hampshire, then you're going to see more freedom in New Hampshire because this is a freedom-oriented place compared to the rest of the United States. Whereas Catalonia, you're going to see a socialist government if they get to secede.
New Hampshire's one of the freest places in the world, and you're not going to argue with me on that. But that secession and freedom don't necessarily follow.
I agree with that. I never said they did. I said that here you would likely see more freedom.
Except you couldn't leave.
Well, that's your speculation.
Okay.
Would you agree that if that were not true, that if you could leave, there'd be a lot more freedom in New Hampshire?
Sure, but that's a long way off. It'd be a heck of a lot easier to just buy someplace from some country like Roger Ver is attempting to do. I'll be doing an interview on that on the Edgington Post, and hopefully we'll have that relatively soon to find out more.
I'd like to know more about that.
They're going to try to buy a place. That makes a heck of a lot of sense. Maybe
I don't know.
Get a cruise ship. You already have political.
How does it make sense when governments can't be trusted?
I don't know. Why do you think that governments can be trusted?
I don't think that. That's why I don't think it would work.
When did you change your mind? Why do you think secession's going to work? Why do you think that the government of New Hampshire is going to treat you well? Why do you think the United States government...
I didn't say the government of New Hampshire is going to treat me well. They're a government. Governments are oppressive by their nature. But in New Hampshire, you have the ability to actually have an effect on the government here. That's why we have a movement of thousands of liberty-minded people who are coming here.
Not all of whom want secession, mind you.
That's
and
okay.
Many of the whom
That's okay.
Agree that there will be problems. The United States starts waging some kind of, online hacker war against the state of New Hampshire. Do you think New Hampshire's prepared for that?
We got some pretty technically adept people here. Yes, I do think so.
Not the state of New Hampshire is not. You will see
then who cares about the state of New Hampshire? Who cares about the state of New Hampshire? All I care about is getting out of the United States government. And why somebody would argue in favor of staying in just because you're scared. I mean, that's a reason why you need to leave. If you're so afraid of the United States federal government, then you need to get out. Being under their thumb is not going to give you a good life.
Your life isn't good?
There are good things about this life, but it's not free.
Well, it's not going to be free when New Hampshire declares independence either.
I understand. There's it takes time. Freedom is not an immediate thing. You don't get to press a button and get total freedom.
Right.
But moving in that direction is why I moved here to New Hampshire. So we can attract more people here.
However, the petulance, the constant, begging for secession, screaming for secession thing isn't going to, it only turns the government's evil eye right upon you.
Oh, I've already had the government turn upon me.
I don't really
why do
care
I
what
care?
they look at for you. I understand that. But I'm talking about
so what you're saying is, again, fear. You're bringing out this fear card again, trying to make people stay put, stay quiet. Don't rustle anybody's feathers. Don't talk about secession or the government will turn its evil eye against you. Well, look, if you're going to try to change the world, if you're going to try to change society, try to change a given area, there's going to be people who turn against you. There's going to be people who hate you.
But you don't have to do it the worst way possible, right? Like, if it's possible to go buy a piece of land and live free, if it's possible to get a boat and just cruise around out there in a big cruise ship, like all these things you dismiss out of hand.
I didn't dismiss it. Go and do that.
You
could do that. Go ahead.
For 1 million people to leave the United States, lose their Social Security.
Who cares? You're going to lose your Social Security anyway.
Hacked into oblivion.
You're going to lose your Social Security anyway.
Be trapped in a given geographic area. Be unable to fly. I'm just saying.
You're
not
be scared.
rebutting it. You're just saying you don't care. That's all.
Risk is involved, dude. If you want to have more freedom, you got to be willing to take risk. If you want a comfy life where you get to watch your television the whole time and then you go and retire and then the government takes care of you and sends you a check every month, if that's the life that you want, there are plenty of places in the world that you can have that life. And then you don't have to be scared because the government's there to take care of you. But if you're willing to take a little bit of risk, if you're willing to actually, put something on the line, then maybe you'll have a chance of being more free. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be exterminated in a fiery bomb as the United States drops a nuclear weapon on New Hampshire.
Have I said that?
No, I'm just saying you've been trotting out all these fear-mongering things, so why not go all the way and suggest they're going to nuke the place?
I don't think they would. I would say that they would say that a rogue state would be a threat, that the Russians or the Chi-Coms or whoever would be using them as some kind of infiltrator, and we need to secure our borders and the same kind of rhetoric they always use. So no, I don't think that they would drop a bomb on the state that neighbors Maine and Vermont.
Well, that's nice.
They're going to make it.
Some people believe that.
Darn difficult. Sure, some people do. Some people think it's a good idea to secede from the United States.
Yeah, it's a damn good idea. And I can tell you, the people of New Hampshire like that idea from the ones I've talked to. When I go and I do outreach, they love the idea. They smile. They're excited. They're interested. They ask questions.
Have you talked to them about their Social Security?
I don't know. I know it's on it's on the flyer from the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence. It does address that if you don't have the federal government taking 13.5% from you, then you get to keep it. And then you can put that in whatever kind of investments you want to, rather than leaving it to some bureaucrats who aren't putting it in any kind of an investment. They're just spending it.
So
why anybody who cares about freedom is going to care about Social Security and whether it exists in the next 20 or 30 years or whatever?
Into it.
Hey, it's a gang, dude. You pay a criminal gang and they renege on the agreement, then you don't get to just stand there and act all petulant about how I paid into this. I want my payout. I'd rather have my freedom. Thank you very much. I don't know about you.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Dr. Carolyn Dean wants you to have a free chapter of her new book, The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition, and it's available at magmiracle.com. In your free chapter, Dr. Carolyn Dean explains how magnesium is essential to support the structure and function and overall health of your body. Your free chapter is your guide to learn how to support your heart, bone, metabolic, lung, and mental health with this powerful mineral. The Magnesium Miracle 2nd Edition is available on Amazon, but right now get a free chapter at magmiracle.com, spelled M-A-G, miracle.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
No, I can understand the time cue, but what I know is wiser than anything else. Like God created one day, I've created 4 simultaneous days in one rotation of Earth.
At what point did you become the wisest human, Gene Ray?
Well, I've learned everything. When you know everything, there's nothing to know.
Okay, well, now, you said you're getting ready to write a book on it. When can we expect to see it?
No, I don't have a publisher yet. A lot of morning touch it, and so...
you touch it in the morning?
Well, sometimes, not much.
Yeah. How old are you, Dr. Gene Ray?
I'm 78. Well, I told this black lady down in St. Pete, I said, when you die, you're going to come back as a white person. I said, I'm going to come back as a black person. I'm going to hate you honkies.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, and we've got Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, then join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. It's Ian, Jonny, Ray, and Mark in the studio tonight. Let's go to the phones, actually to Skype, where David is on the line in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to share what I think is a kind of a fun deal. I told you yesterday about how I had filed a claim of waste, fraud, and abuse with the New Mexico State Auditor's Office, their hotline. What I also did after I filed that claim about that court-appointed attorney, as I allege, embezzling state monies, I also filed a report against the state auditor himself, Tim Keller, who's running for mayor, and on the claim that mayor of Albuquerque.
Okay.
He's the former state senator Tim Keller, who is now the state auditor, who is running and will probably win for New Mexico. Albuquerque mayor. And I told you previously on different occasions that the head of the FBI in New Mexico that retired a few years back, after he retired, he stated publicly to the press that he saw New Mexico as the most corrupt state in the nation. And under that category, What goes on here in New Mexico more than any place else I've seen, granted it happens everywhere, is they pretty much do their state or their government business on the radio, on the media here, and the media is complicit, in my opinion, with the politicians. Like I said, more here than anywhere else I have been, to the point where the
What do you mean when you say they do their government business on the radio? What does that mean?
Well, anytime that any politician, office holder wants to get some item of business completed where they need to sway public opinion, they'll go on the radio, which is fairly normal. However, the way that it works here, and you'd kind of have to actually be here and pay attention to it, but the way that it works here, it's clear that the media is working hand in hand with the politician of their choice to accomplish the agenda of their choice.
That's
and like
everywhere,
I said,
that's everywhere.
Right, but like I said, let's go back to remember that the head of the FBI in New Mexico, when he retired, stated that
it was really corrupt.
The most corrupt.
I gotcha.
Yeah, well,
we'll take your word for it that they do it more there. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. Don't take my word. Take the head of the FBI's word.
Okay.
And so that's what's going on. So what I did is I filed a claim the other day, and this happens multiple times a week, but on one occasion that I used for purposes of a claim, Tim Keller went on a radio station here to do that kind of thing. It happens to be the radio station that their operations manager he maintains a blacklist, a list of people, I guess in your language you'd say people that are banned. And he bans them for various reasons, and quite obviously the reason that they have banned me from that radio station is because of my political speech. Because whenever I speak on the radio, I speak as I am now, and I might be boring, but I'm not offensive. But they have banned me because my allegation is because of my political speech, and it's kind of
the politicians get upset because you're calling them out. They don't want to be called out on the air.
Exactly. That's my allegation as to why my voice by name, David Olson, is banned from that radio station.
I don't think that what you're dealing with here, and thanks for the call, David, I don't think you're dealing with anything that's unusual at all. Now, sure, FBI guy says it's the most corrupt state, fine.
May very well be.
But what you're talking about is common. I mean, you're talking about, and that's not to say it's right or, not that your situation shouldn't be something that people are concerned with. But I guess my question is just sort of generally, if you are someone who believes that the government is as corrupt as you think it is, and it is corrupt, no doubt about it, whatever government we're talking about, I mean, corruption is just sort of part and parcel of that process of having a monopoly over something. There's going to be corruption within that monopoly. I mean, it's almost a guarantee. So why would filing a complaint do anything? I mean, if the government is so corrupt, then why would anybody realistically expect the complaint system to not be corrupted or whatever, happens to your complaint? You think something's going to happen with that? Is it going to get in front of a panel that's not corrupt? Is it going to get in front of a panel that's not, under the thumb of somebody else or under the influence of certain other people, or all working together, ultimately working on the same side, being paid by the very same agency? I mean, there's no real justice, is there, within this system? The odds that one side of the government is going to hold the other side of it accountable is very, very slim, it seems to me. So I can't say that filing a complaint has ever really done a whole lot. It seems like if you can get the media to pay attention to a case, like when the government goes after a lemonade stand or something like that, some obviously egregious act that you can get people to kind of rally behind, sometimes then, if enough media attention comes on to a specific issue, the government will kind of back down and, we'll let the kids have their lemonade stand and it's okay. But it's very rare.
Yeah, it seems like the government's more likely to go after itself when the media has whipped people up. So if, for whatever reason, somebody at the police department leaks the video of the cops, raining fire down upon, some innocent person in a car or whatever it is, and that video is very compelling, then you'll see the outrage. Now, if it's just, if Philando Castile had been killed and there was no video, it had just been another black guy shot, right?
Sure. Cop would claim he went for a gun, and that would be
right, and that was it. And that's what he claimed. And that was the end of the story. But there was video. And when you can get the evidence, the video, that kind of thing, then it makes a big difference.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, just color me skeptical about the government appeals process or the government complaints process. I suspect that most of those complaints go into the circular file. I can tell you that here, when people have brought, here in Keene, New Hampshire, sometimes people have brought some issues to the city council, and the council simply takes it as informational and puts it aside.
Hang on bated breath, just waiting for you to expose the wrongdoings of the government so that they can fix them.
Yeah, they're not interested in that.
No, they're not.
So let's continue here. We've got Scott the Bigot in Massachusetts. You're on Free Talk Live, or at least I presume that's who you are.
Good evening, Mark and Ian. How are you?
Hello, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, talking about the wrongdoings of the government, let's look at the Las Vegas massacre, because
now you're going to blame this one on the Jews too?
Well, if you let me finish, I got something intelligent to say. Not
all right.
Just George Soros wields enormous power. Now wait a minute. You got to look at this pattern. There's a pattern here.
Do you think he can go through a single phone call without saying George Soros?
Black Lives Matter, the Anti-Fa movement, climate change, Confederate statues and flags, national anthem. What does this have to do with Las Vegas? He's also an extremely powerful gun control advocate.
Okay.
He has the money and the resources to back that up. And he is aided and abetted by Ruth Bader Ginsburg of the Supreme Court, Charles Schumer, Adam Schiff, Bernie Sanders, Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer.
You're just calling a bunch of names out. What is the point you're trying to...
They all have something in common. And the common denominator is they want to destroy the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, just like they want to destroy the First Amendment.
But we know that people in politics want to do that.
I mean, I can find you... there's Jews for firearms prevention, protection.
Preservation.
Preservation. There's plenty of organizations, there's plenty of people, Jews out there, that want to protect your and my right to own a firearm.
The Jewish Firearm Organization is really good, too, really principled.
You haven't proven anything other than there are some people who dislike firearms.
I want to hear how he's going to tie this into the Vegas shooting, though. We'll continue here in moments. 855-450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
If it's working, don't quit. DINOVITE.com.
Google has all but banned the movie series What Would Muhammad Do? It's a brilliant film on the true history and goals of Islam. This is the film Trump's enemies and holdouts from the Obama administration are terrified you will see. Pro-Islamic groups working with Google and other multi-billion-dollar corporations have vowed to suppress the distribution of What Would Muhammad Do? When you see it, you'll understand why. Get your copy while you still can. Order the 4-DVD collection today for $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Or go online and download the entire movie series for just $19.95. But wait, for those who order in the next 30 minutes, we'll throw in a 9-part series on the Muslim Brotherhood absolutely free. Go to wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now. That's wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you to go this way? You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on the count. Now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
855-450-3733. Plenty of time for you with your calls and thoughts about anything you want to discuss. We've got more on secession coming up. What's been going on in Catalonia, Spain, where we're about a week away now. It's been actually 1 week since they had their historic independence referendum vote. And now thousands more people, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000, we don't know. How many people took to the streets today in the Catalonia area of Spain to protest against Catalonia's secession? We'll tell you more about that coming up.
Blink, my Blink home security system it's awesome. I got it just through the mail. I guess it came through UPS or FedEx or one of those right to my door. I downloaded the app, walked me right through the easy setup process, and it doesn't matter that my router system was a little complicated. And I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the cameras. They light up so they get a good picture, and I can check right from my phone. And they've managed to get us a deal. Now, we're going to work. Apparently, there's some bugs that need to be worked out with our coupon code. So, stay tuned. But the deal is you get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge for one, plus 10% off. The website from which one would order is blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Except right now, there's no 10% off.
I think that's the case, best I can tell. And I think that'll be fixed by tomorrow. blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL.
All right, let's go to, we'll let you know once that's fully up and running. Yep. Let's go to you. Back to your calls here. Scott the Bigot on the line in Massachusetts, as always, blaming all the world's problems on Jewish people, Scott. But, really the problem is people in search of power. And it turns out that there are people of all kinds of religious beliefs and lack of religious beliefs who are searching for power over others and willing to wield it. But what is your conspiracy theory when it comes to the Vegas shooter? That you had not yet gotten to.
Yeah, well, it's leading up to the fact that as I was saying, George Soros, aided and abetted by Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Charles Schumer, Adam Schiff.
All right, stop with the name dropping. Just get to your point.
The point is this: that he has the power and the resources to destroy the Second Amendment.
One man.
Arms, and he's doing it, and with the help of the New York Times and the media, he's doing it. And make no mistake, there is a Jewish conspiracy to take away firearms from Americans and destroy the First Amendment. You just mentioned a moment ago.
But what about the Jewish conspiracy to protect firearms ownership?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm going to tell you where you're wrong in that. There was a book put out by William L. Pierce. You may know him. He wrote a book called, very famous book called The Turner Diaries. and he wrote a book called Gun Control in Germany. Let me just read you this little paragraph of what he said. Jews in the Congress and in the media have taken the lead in pushing for anti-gun laws. Gun owners have noticed this, and from the beginning, resentment against Jews has grown among patriots. To counter this resentment,
it's
Jews
grown
launched a
among
clever and
idiots,
deceitful-
is what it's done.
What's
I
that?
don't want to hear this tripe. Look,
It's not
you
tripe.
you
It's
said
not
you were going to
tripe.
say something about the Jews for the preservation of firearms ownership.
That's
One of the
right. Well, let's
best,
talk about
one
that.
of the best, most principled pro-gun organizations in the United States.
Scott, here's the
What
problem.
they're really doing is they want to, they're gun grabbers. They want to take guns away from Americans, law-abiding citizens.
No, they don't.
Scott, listen. You've said yourself that not all Jews want these things, right?
The international Jews want them.
Right, hold on. What is an international Jew? Please define
When I
that
mean
term.
international Jews, I'm talking about George Soros. I'm talking about
Well,
Charles
then you need
Schumer.
to. Okay, so it's
But
one.
then don't say Jews if you mean
All right.
George Soros. When you
All right,
list
George
off a
Soros.
bunch of Jewish names and then you leave out all the American, all the regular English and whatever names that want to take firearms away from people, it makes it look as though you're singling out one ethnicity. When in fact it has really not that much to do with people's ethnicity and far more to do with their political leanings.
Can I ask you
Right?
a question?
Yes.
Why, if it has nothing to do with being the Jews, why do these names keep popping up over and
Because
over
you're
again?
Because you're looking for them.
Yeah.
No, I see it on the news every day. I hear Charles Schumer.
Because you're looking for them. When you have a belief system, guess what? You start to see the evidence that backs up that particular belief system more clearly than any evidence that would counter that particular belief system. And that's not to say that the people that you've named aren't against gun ownership. They probably are. But just because they're Jewish doesn't mean that all Jews are against gun ownership. I mean, a very simple look at the Jews for Preservation of Firearms Ownership will show you quite clearly, if you're willing to accept new information that could be contrary to your belief system, that there are indeed Jews who really appreciate firearms. Lots of them. And this, as I understand it, is one of the most principled organizations out there on this. But we still haven't gotten to the point here, Scott, and what I want to know from you is, do you think that, are you saying that you believe that the murderous maniac or the alleged killer there in Vegas a week ago, that guy was somehow doing that at the behest of George Soros and the like?
It's very possible that he is merely a Gentile front. It's absolutely possible. And just to show you, the Mandalay Bay, George Soros owns interest in the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Don't you find that very ironic?
Well, then why the
and
hell would
disturbing?
George Soros want to have a maniac shooting off the 32nd floor? If he owns interest in Mandalay Bay, that's probably going to do a bit of a number to how many people want to stay in that hotel. It's not like their attendance is going to go up so people can go and see the shooter's room, or that they'll be able to charge more for people to stay, on the 32nd floor in that corner of the building. That's not going to happen.
I will answer that question.
I don't think you understand how the market works.
Yeah,
Thanks for the call, Scott. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. You better believe Mandalay Bay is going to have to reduce room rates, I would think, over the next year if they want to actually keep people coming in there. Because I'm sure people are going to prefer other hotels over the site of a massacre.
Probably.
Yeah. Why would somebody who has a interest in a building also want to plot the downfall of that building's business? That just doesn't make any sense. Follow the money.
I guess you would, send them to somebody else's hotel, right?
Yeah, but why would he want to do that?
I don't know.
Right. The toll-free number here
I don't know why anyone would, fall as a patsy. This guy shot himself.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't, he didn't go through some kind of process with a bunch of other people. There's no evidence that anyone else was involved at this point. And to add a whole bunch of people, when we lack evidence seems, ridiculous.
Yep. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Gilletta. I believe this is Gilletta Jarvis, who is a Libertarian, or will be likely the Libertarian nominee for governor here in New Hampshire coming up in 2018. Hello, Gilletta.
Hi.
Hey there. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to share with you guys that there's a organization in New Hampshire called Shire Sharing. Have you heard of them before?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we've talked about their Thanksgiving Day fundraisers where they feed hundreds of families across New Hampshire. on and around Thanksgiving. And we've participated in some of those.
Well, right now they're also doing a children's coat drive until November 12th, and they have drop-off locations all over the state that you can. Some of them are 24/7. They have a bin outside.
Wow.
I went today. It's like a big Tupperware, one of those big Rubbermaid type bins, and you just drop off the coats inside the bin and cover it back up. And then some of them are businesses, so you have to go during business hours. But most of them are private homes, and you can just drop it off right outside their door, right in these bins.
Very cool. Now, Shire Sharing was started by a Free State Project early mover who we've had on this show and interviewed in the past. It was something that she was inspired by her father, who I guess did this same thing, essentially back where they were from. And she wanted to kind of continue in that tradition. And it has grown incredibly. I mean, to the point where hundreds of people are involved as volunteers, and then many hundreds more are the recipients of a lot of these. And now you said coat drive, but classically they've been doing food drives as well. So very, very interesting and successful organization. Now, obviously, people outside of New Hampshire can't easily donate things like food and coats, but I'm sure they'll accept monetary contributions. I believe the website, last time I checked, was shiresharing.org. Is that right?
Yep, it is, and they do accept monetary donations to help pick up where they didn't get donations.
Cool.
So.
Gilletta, thanks for sharing that with us here tonight. This is yet another example of the Liberty community here in New Hampshire that comes together to help not only them their own community out, but help outside of their community, because it's an unprecedented community of libertarians who've come together in the same geographic area. And Gilletta, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate that. And you can join us here. You can check out the New Hampshire Freedom Migration over at move.shiresociety.com. and learn about why libertarians from all around the globe are migrating here to New Hampshire. This is Free Talk Live. More coming up here. Hour number 2 is on the way. You can join us.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you, and you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.83 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,276 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,462. Antiwar.com reports Spain's constitutional court does not appear to be having much luck stopping an imminent Catalan declaration of independence. After ruling on Thursday that the regional parliament will not be allowed to meet on Monday to declare independence, Catalonia looks to be doing an end around. They're going to make the announcement on Tuesday. Spain has been struggling to find roadblocks to put in the way of the independence declaration by Catalan President Carles Puigdemont, but suspending a Monday session that was never even officially announced appears to have been useless. Catalan officials say Puigdemont will be addressing Parliament Tuesday at 6 p.m., and members of Parliament are expecting that he will be submitting a declaration to the Assembly at that time. Members of the Catalan Parliament say the text of the declaration is still being debated, but that at this point there's no reason to expect any further delays. Spanish courts are unlikely to have time to try to block another session of Parliament before it takes place. Catalan voters overwhelmingly approved secession last weekend, and a violent crackdown by the Spanish police has only added to the calls to quickly split from Spain. Spanish officials insist the referendum did not count because the courts forbade it. Catalonia's leaders, however, maintain that the vote was valid and will stand. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a pair of Republican lawmakers are calling on the Trump administration to release all records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Representative Walter Jones of North Carolina introduced a resolution in the House that would call on President Donald Trump to allow the National Archives and Record Administration to release any remaining documents related to Kennedy's assassination in Dallas in 1963. Jones said in a release from his office, "To me, the tragedy that took place in Dallas continues to raise many questions that go unanswered. After 54 years, there's no reason, for the sake of honesty and integrity in America, that the facts of the JFK assassination should not be made public." A companion resolution was introduced in the Senate by Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa. The evidence surrounding JFK's assassination has long been fodder for conspiracy theorists who do not believe the conclusions reached in an 888-page report authored by then Chief Justice Earl Warren, which said Kennedy's killing was the work of a lone assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, who opened fire from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository on Kennedy's open-top limousine. The issue of still withheld JFK records was nearly put to bed in 1992 when former President George H.W. Bush signed legislation ordering all JFK-related records to be released. The legislation contained a loophole, however. Records were ordered released unless the strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise. The decision over which documents to keep classified lies solely with each subsequent occupant of the Oval Office. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. And of course, it's covered by the BIPCOT no-gov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at GetCell411.com. That's GetCell411.com. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada postponed the trial of rancher Cliven Bundy for his role in an armed standoff with U.S. government agents after defense lawyers argued that the Las Vegas mass shooting could influence jurors. The case against Bundy stems from a 2014 situation in which he is alleged to have led a revolt against federal authorities at his ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada, about 75 miles northeast of Las Vegas. Brett Whipple told Reuters that U.S. District Judge Gloria Navarro in Las Vegas granted the delay for Bundy and several co-defendants, including his sons, who are accused of conspiracy, assault, and other charges. The trial was set to begin next week in Las Vegas federal court, and Navarro granted a delay until October 30th. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports earlier today that Indiana University freshman Lawrence Plotnick's roommate Brian Tabor has found an excuse to go home every weekend since August, Plotnick spoke to Onion reporters about his roommate's frequent trips to his nearby hometown of Terre Haute, Indiana.
Every week since we got here, it seems like every time I ask him if he wants to hang out on Friday, he has some wedding or birthday party or something. fact, I'm pretty sure he hasn't spent a single Friday or Saturday night on campus in the past 6 months.
Plotnik went on to cite a variety of far-ranging excuses used by his roommate to justify his constant visits home, including various family functions, a visiting friend from China, as well as his occasional desire to, quote, just hang out at home for a couple of days.
I mean, I suppose I vaguely understood when he had to go back in November because his best friend's grandfather died, but last weekend he had to go back for his aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. He said he couldn't miss it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
As always, you can bring up whatever you want, and we're going to tell you more about the latest from Catalonia. It was a week ago that they had a historic referendum vote that was supposed to be a non-binding referendum. The state of, or the nation of Spain certainly was not going to recognize the vote. They don't want Catalonia to leave, and they're not the only ones. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets in Catalonia to protest against its secession from Spain. So loyalists.
Did the Spanish police come and kick their heads in and stuff like
I doubt
they did
it.
with the other folks?
I doubt it. But we'll tell you more about that coming up here in moments. Let's go to your calls and your thoughts. We have Ricky. He's in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, brother Ian. Good evening. How are you tonight?
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was talking to you a little bit last night, in fact, about Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederate States of America. Before you ask, brother Ian, I know I got to spell everything out for you there. You know?
Yeah, it's important because not everybody listening.
So I'm going to try to be as two-dimensional.
I appreciate
as
that.
possible.
Not everybody listening knows all about history or whatever, so thanks.
Well, I'm not worried about the people listening.
Well, I am,
Now,
because we're doing a radio show, and those are the ones who are the most important,
That's
not
the
you.
only reason we're talking to you, Ricky. I mean, the audience.
Now, a couple points here. Now, I made the point that Abraham Lincoln was a lying, emancipating, white supremacist son of a bitch. And I would say this about Jefferson Davis, that he was not a liar.
Oh, I bet he was.
Also,
If he's in government, you can almost guarantee he was a liar.
I don't think Ian, since you don't understand a damn thing I'm talking about, I don't know if you're really in the position to say.
Oh, yes, I am. If somebody is a government head, if they are a head of state, it's almost a guarantee that that person is dishonest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the same for people that got their fingers on buttons, too.
Is that an attack against board operators? Radio people?
People that are afraid of the truth. And I'm going to give you an example of that, but you keep wasting time talking about bibble babble. Now, Jefferson Davis was a good humanitarian man.
Okay,
and
tell us
not only
why.
that, I'm going to give you a couple points. He wasn't a white supremacist. I'm going to give an example of that. Now, something Lincoln was absolutely not interested in was educating the slaves. Wasn't interested. In fact, Lincoln wanted to take them and put them all over there in Africa. And he wanted to have all the white-skinned people here. See, he was only interested in the black-skinned slaves. The other ones, I guess, were okay. Now, let's take a look at Jefferson Davis. Now, Jefferson Davis, one of his biggest things was educating the slaves, higher education, training in the South.
But
Now,
keeping them
why would he do
slaves.
that? Huh?
But keeping them as slaves?
Okay, that's the other thing, Lee. And so you can pull that crap. So the next time we talk about slavery, because what I'd like to see is you, for once, to be honest and not be so PC.
I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. You said Jefferson Davis wanted to educate the slaves, so he wanted them educated, but he wanted to keep them as slaves?
Yeah, well, the problem here is, Ricky,
They were his family, brother Ian. They looked upon their master as their family.
It's kind of a strange relationship, right?
It may very well be the case in some circumstances. The difficulty is here, Ricky, is that you have, I'm going to presume, some depth of knowledge around Jefferson Davis that Ian and I don't share. Ian, Ian doesn't purport himself as a historian, and I just don't know.
I didn't pay attention in history class. It was boring.
I just don't know that much about Jefferson Davis. And we sort of have to accept everything you say about the president of the Confederacy, an organization that was created almost entirely to preserve slavery.
And what's really wrong with that? We can talk about the
What's wrong with
concept of
preserving slavery?
You still got it, brother Ian. See, you don't realize.
Do
the
we really
damage
have to
they're doing.
answer that question, Ricky? Thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I mean, if it's not self-evident what is wrong with slavery, that you are enslaving and keeping another human being against their will, forcing them to do things that they otherwise might not want to do.
At the force of a lash.
What's wrong with that? At the threat of violence, the threat of death? If you try to leave? What's wrong with that? It's pretty clear what's wrong with that. And if it's not clear to you, then I'm sorry, you're the one with the problem.
Well,
the toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE.
His statement was that we have slavery now, and I would say that we have a...
I agree.
I
didn't hear him say that. I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, slavery has existed since... Well, probably before the Agrarian Revolution. If it appeared during the Agrarian Revolution, then likely it existed before that. And yes, there are forms of slavery even in existence here in the United States, but they're not like chattel slavery where people were beaten for not working and owned and were forced to do certain labor. Like, you know, there's some differences there. Their children were born into bondage. I guess, anyway.
People were bought and sold.
So
at auction,
yeah,
it was horrifying, and that's not to say that people aren't still enslaved today. It's a different kind of slavery. It's a kinder, gentler slavery. It's a slavery where you get to choose your plantation for the most part, and kind of choose your vocation rather than just being forced to work at whatever the taskmaster determines that you have to do, or the man with the whip. In this case, we don't have men with whips. There are men with cars and flashing lights and guns and badges, and they're a little less ever present in our lives, thankfully, than the taskmaster or the people that would have been behind you while you were picking cotton or whatever the task might have been.
Just so long as you never test how long your chain is, then you'll never feel it pulling you back.
You're talking about nowadays?
Yeah.
That's true. There's definitely chains there, but they're a little bit the load is a little bit lighter. And you also are able to take care of yourself. So today's slaves, you kind of choose your own housing, you choose your own, foods for the most part, and it's a much nicer form.
Entertainment's a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about that. In fact, that's part of the problem is people are so well entertained today that they don't realize how tethered that they are, and they're so comfortable, which is why we don't have people out in the streets protesting in any meaningful numbers. It's not like Catalonia where you've got hundreds of thousands of people in the streets. How often does that happen in the United States? It's very, very rare.
It's just Ian, your particular form of personal entertainment is calling for secession and and overthrow and revolution.
No, I don't call for revolution. I don't call for overthrow. I'd rather have people ignore the government than to throw it over.
Music to my ears.
Yeah, that's what I want to see, but unfortunately the government at this point can't be ignored because they're more ever present than you can easily get away with ignoring them. I mean, their tentacles, if you will, get into all manner of different areas of life. Now, as you say, Johnny Ray, if you don't pull at the chains, you may not notice that they're there. People that just sort of plug in and go to a job and then, go home and watch TV and then repeat that process over until they retire is not as likely to notice how bad things really are. But you try to start your own business and you'll start to see some of the government restrictions and controls that are put on you.
I mean, every time you look at your paycheck and you see that the government has taken a portion of the fruits of your labor, you'll see some of the aspects of this. I mean,
sure, but you can write that off and say, well, that's the price you pay to live in civilization.
Yeah, that would be what you would say, right? What was it, Harriet Tubman?
Harriet Tubman? Yes, I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more had they only known they were slaves.
Right. So,
same problem today.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what the context of it was, but
slaves were many of them uneducated, and if you're raised in a situation of slavery, it's all that you know. So you don't realize necessarily in a situation like that what you're missing out on, which is the most insidious form of slavery, and that is that somebody who does not even understand their enslavement.
Right. So those people were working and they had the fruits of their labor taken from them. Now, they were forced to do a certain job, which is different than what we have today. But if you choose to work today, some portion of the fruits of your labor will be taken, and obviously it's told that it's to take care of you, but a slave owner had to take care of his property in order to make these things happen. So citizenship is a much kinder, much gentler form of slavery, but it's difficult to argue that it's anything else.
You can choose your master from one of two choices.
Which ones?
Whichever ones they give you. Hillary
Clinton
and,
or Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
But but you don't actually get a responsive vote.
I understand.
Your vote doesn't make a difference.
The toll-free well, I understand that too. Yeah. But the illusion of you get to choose, again, you're only choosing between the two options they give you anyway. Even if it was a responsive vote, it wouldn't matter. 855-450, free freedom.
Book Club Radio.
Today we're chatting with Mike Papantonio, leading trial lawyer and prolific author. His latest novel, Law and Vengeance, is a non-stop, action-packed legal thriller. We spoke with him about the book and the real-life issues that inform and inspire his writing.
I think the fiction is easier because the stories kind of tell themselves because of what I do. Now, it may, if I didn't do what I did for a living and I said, well, let me imagine what happens with a whistleblower. Let me imagine what happens when a pharmaceutical company kills people with a dangerous pharmaceutical. Let me imagine what happens when a mega corporation pollutes an entire waterway for 300,000 people. Let me imagine that. It's tough to imagine, but it's very easy to write when you're actually in the middle of that and you're experiencing what's happening firsthand. When you write a fiction book and it's based on reality, it just seems to very often write itself.
On the heels of the critically acclaimed legal thriller, Law and Disorder, comes Law and Vengeance, the latest novel from famed trial attorney Mike Papantonio. Law and Vengeance follows the law firm of Bergman Dichotomus, who is now in the crosshairs of a weapons manufacturer. But this is not a law firm that plays by all the rules. Based on a real case, Law and Vengeance, the riveting new legal thriller by Mike Papantonio, is available wherever books are sold.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, and bring up whatever you want. Coming up, Jonny Ray's game of the current time. We'll share whatever game that is. He says it is Stormbound.
My game of the past 2 days.
Stormbound is what Jonny Ray's been playing. We'll tell you more about that coming up here. Also, the latest from the Catalan independence movement, Catalonia. Many people there want to get out of Spain, and a lot of people want to stay. They are the ones who took to the streets today. Over 300,000 estimated in the streets of Catalonia. We'll tell you about that coming up here in moments. And you want to sleep well at night? Check out My Pillow. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. It's been great for me. I've used it for more than a year now. And Mark, you also have a My Pillow.
Yeah.
Unlike your regular pillows that you've had throughout your life, the My Pillow is actually washable. You can put it in the washer and the dryer. It is designed for that. You go to mypillow.com. You can use code FTL, like Free Talk Live, and that will get you your My Pillow at half price, or 2 for the price of 1. It is up to you how many to get. The discount code again is FTL, like Free Talk Live. And if you don't like it for whatever reason, within the first 60 days, you can send it back, and they'll send you your purchase price back to you. Plus, the pillow, if you keep it, is guaranteed to last for 10 years. So go to mypillow.com. Use code FTL, like Free Talk Live. We go to the story from Reuters. About what happened today in Spain. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets in the capital Barcelona of Catalonia today to express their opposition to declaring independence from Spain, showing how divided the region is on the issue. A crowd estimated by local police to number about 350,000 waved Spanish and Catalan flags and carried banners saying, "Catalonia is Spain," and "Together we are stronger." They poured into the city center after politicians on both sides hardened their positions in the country's worst political crisis for decades. And the country's only been around in its current makeup since 1978, I believe. So, just about 40 years. 2 more Catalonia.
I wonder what their point is, that Catalonia is stronger with Spain.
Well, I don't know. It's just a slogan.
Right. I don't know either.
2 more Catalonia-based companies set board meetings for Monday to decide whether to shift their head offices out of the region, adding to the intense pressure that Catalan leader Charles Puigdemont is under to back away from declaring independence when he addresses the regional parliament on Tuesday. So the declaration was originally expected tomorrow, but it sounds like it might have moved to Tuesday. Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy said Saturday he would not rule out removing Catalonia's government and calling a fresh local election if it claimed independence, as well as suspending the wealthy region's existing autonomous status. Well, what does it really mean to be autonomous? I mean, if you can't actually leave the organization, then how autonomous are you? I mean, autonomous is to be independent, right? Autonomous is that you have self-government. And so it's kind of a joke to claim that Catalonia is autonomous and then say, well, we're just going to strip you of your government.
Autonomy.
We're going to strip you of your claim to independence. We'll call a new election and remove all of your currently elected people by force, if necessary. Catalonia, which has its own language and culture and is led by a pro-independence regional government, held a referendum a week ago over secession in defiance of Spain's constitutional court, which had declared that vote to be illegal.
No votes. No votes. We will have no votes here in this democracy.
No, and they literally brought out shock troops in the form of thousands of police from across the rest of the country to come in on cruise ships that they had rented, complete with Looney Tunes characters on the sides of the ships, and just sort of a bizarre,
much to Warner Brothers' chagrin.
Yeah, and a very bizarre twist to the story. And then they brought those troops out into the streets. They shut down polling locations. They stole millions of ballots. And then they proceeded to physically attack the people who attempted to try to go and vote, including drop-kicking them off of stairwells, throwing them downstairs, grabbing them by the hair, throwing them outside. All of this was captured on at least one video. And that was just the one video I saw. I mean, who knows how many other videos there were of the atrocities over there being committed against these people.
Just need one.
Just because they want to leave. Just because they want to be left alone. More than 90% of those who voted did back the secession viewpoint, but opinion polls on the issues suggest the region is more closely divided. Turnout for the referendum was 43%, with most residents who wish to remain in Spain staying home.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't know necessarily. I mean, the problem here is that the Spanish government decided that they were going to react very poorly to this, and thus call this a invalid vote. So the people who were for it, for staying in Spain, wouldn't come out and vote, and those that were for secession then get to claim victory. Plus the fact that they got beaten up on the way to the polls. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a PR disaster.
The anti-independence demonstration today, which included Catalans and people from other parts of Spain. I wonder what the breakdown was of the 350,000 people that were in the Catalonia region to protest.
Go march wherever go march at home. Leave us alone.
Right. How many of those 350,000 had come in from other areas of Spain? Well, anyway, we're not going to find that out, but underlined how the dispute has riven the region itself. A month ago, 1 million people rallied in the city to support independence. And they said there were only about 350,000 today who were against independence. Quote, "We feel both Catalan and Spanish," Araceli Pons, age 72, said during Sunday's rally. He continued, or she, not sure, saying, "We are facing a tremendous unknown. We will see what happens this week, but we have to speak out very loudly so they know what we want." Mr. Puigdemont will address the Catalan parliament at 6 p.m. on Tuesday on the current political situation amid speculation he could ask the assembly to declare independence, which, if they do, will put them all in jeopardy, I think, of being arrested. The national government has been very clear that they intend to use whatever violence is necessary and have threatened the politicians in the Catalan region with punishment if they go forward with this.
I wonder what happens if the police, the Catalan police, begin to protect the Catalan politicians from whomever might come and arrest them.
Excellent question.
Yeah, I mean that
sounds like war.
Yeah, once you have an organization of force and violence. Defensive or offensive, you say what you want, you really can't claim that police aren't an organization of force and violence. Once you have two organizations of force and violence going at each other, you basically have the definition of a war.
Puigdemont said in an interview broadcast on Catalan television Sunday that a law passed by the Catalan parliament preparing the way for the referendum called for a declaration of independence in the event of a yes vote. He says, "We will apply what the law says." According to a partial transcript released by TV3, Puigdemont said he had not been in contact with the Madrid government for some time because Spain refused to discuss independence. He says, quote, "What is happening in Catalonia is real, whether they like it or not. Millions of people have voted who want to decide. We have to talk about this," he said. Mariano Rajoy, however, has said that repeatedly he will not talk to Catalan leaders unless they drop their plans to declare independence. So you got yourself a stalemate here, a standoff. And there's more to come. We'll share, or you can share with us your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And by the way, a bunch of companies have been leaving the Catalan region over this. They've been pulling out, moving their headquarters to other areas of Spain, interestingly. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Advertising your business with GCN is simple, effective, and more affordable than you might think. Visit advertise.gcnlive.com for more info. Take your business to the next level. That's advertise.gcnlive.com.
ProPure water filters. Most trusted, most tested. Right now, you can save 25% on the ProPure Nomad Gravity System. Visit an authorized ProPure dealer for details. That's PROPUR.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the Bigot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. We're talking secession again because it's a hot topic in some of the nations of the world. Cameroon, we covered their secession movement earlier tonight, and the much more, I guess, headline-generating movement over in Catalonia. There's a lot of talk about what's happening there with today over 350,000 people coming out and protesting against secession. The Loyalists, if you will, the people who want to keep Spain together had come out. In fact, they came out from other areas of Spain into the Catalan region to protest. And my question is, what was the breakdown of this crowd? Because first of all, their size was lower than the people who came out in favor of independence. So there supposedly was 1 million people that came out in the streets prior to the vote to protest in favor of independence in Catalonia, whereas now you're talking only about 300 to 350,000 coming out to protest against independence.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people,
Yeah.
but again, it was admitted that some of them were from outside of Catalonia, so how many of them were?
It does seem like Catalonia wouldn't be able to draw very many marchers for its independence, if that makes sense. It would be a good idea if the Basques would come and march with the Catalans, but they may or may not do that. Whereas I can totally see, the sort of controlled opposition coming in and, marching from all over. Hey, it's really important. Here's our Catalan flag. We really want to stay.
Right. So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. So we were talking about what happened last week in Catalonia, where they had this historic referendum vote on whether or not the state should leave and become its own country. And 90% of the people who did vote voted in favor of independence. But the argument, of course, from the other side is, well, this vote was considered to be illegal by the Supreme Court of Spain, and so therefore the people who support Spain staying together, they didn't come out and vote because they didn't want to give any legitimacy to the vote. But nonetheless, estimates say that it was over 40% of the population who did come out and vote. And here in the United States, if 5% comes out to a vote, they consider that to be a legitimate election.
Yeah.
But regardless, obviously there are going to be people who want to stay in.
When all the teachers come and vote on in the school board elections or whatever,
that's it.
And that sort of thing, they call that legitimate.
Right. So obviously there are going to be people in the Catalan region who want to stay in, so certainly some of the opposition there is legitimate. But nonetheless, it's an interesting story because it's not just the people that have taken to the streets. And by the way, according to the report here at Reuters, a week ago when they had this vote, the thousands of cops were sent in from across Spain. 900 people were injured when officers fired rubber bullets and charged crowds with truncheons in scenes that shocked Spain and the world and dramatically escalated the dispute and made it crystal clear to many who were on the fence that maybe there was a reason to leave Spain.
Just in case you wondered.
Losing Catalonia is almost unthinkable for the Spanish government, says Reuters. It would deprive Spain of about 16% of its people, a fifth of its economic output, and more than a quarter of its exports. There's widespread opposition to a Catalan breakaway among people in the rest of the country. The political standoff has pushed banks and companies to move their headquarters outside of Catalonia. The board of Catalonia-based infrastructure firm Abertis will meet tomorrow to discuss moving its head office elsewhere in Spain, a source familiar with the matter said. Real estate firm Inmobiliaria Colonial also called a board meeting for Monday to discuss moving their head office out of Catalonia. Companies that have already decided to move include Spain's third biggest lender, Calexia Bank, and the fifth biggest, Sabadell.
I would guess that this comes down to Spain's membership in the EU. So Catalonia leaves Spain, right? Yep. They do not automatically become a member of the EU.
Correct.
Nor do they, there's no particular reason to believe that the EU will offer them membership. I suspect that they would after a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But what is that period of time? I don't have an answer for you. If I run a company whose headquarters are in Catalonia, then I won't be able to do business across the European Union.
And it's also possible that these companies are worried about fallout from the Spanish government as well. Like, if we don't show our loyalty to the Spanish government, for instance, banks here are already the ones that are leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So if these national banks that happen to be headquartered in Catalonia don't move their headquarters to show solidarity with the national government, they lose potentially, the ability to do business in the rest of the country. Right? Like, the politicians could very well turn their evil eye against anybody that's seen to be as a loyalist to Catalonia.
Spain couldn't do anything about it if Catalonia became a member of the European Union.
Sure.
But they can do something about keeping Catalonia from becoming a member of the European Union.
Yeah.
So that's really what it comes down to.
Well, and they can also bring extra regulatory attention on any companies that stick around in Catalonia and don't abandon ship and go back to the rest of Spain.
What I would be more worried about is whether or not they would penalize companies that do any business in Catalonia.
Good question. Let's talk to Nick in New Jersey, listening to WPG. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Nick.
Listen, I've been listening to you guys talk about this quite a lot. Like, I don't know whether you're very concerned what's going on there, or you're just like giving us the information about what's going on there. I know how you feel about government getting in our business. How do you feel about what's your take on what should the United States do about this? How far should it go? Or or should we just sit back and watch?
Yeah, the United States government should have no business in other countries whatsoever. So the government needs to get out of other countries' business. It needs to withdraw its troops from the rest of the world. It needs to be not isolationist, but it needs to be non-interventionist. So yes, sitting back and watching. Now, if you personally want to take a side, then I would say you should do what you want. You should support, if you want one side or the other to be successful, and you want to send them money or, go and volunteer your time for them or something like that, spread memes about them on the internet, whatever it is that you think is appropriate to do, then I say do it. But as far as the U.S. government is concerned, it's none of their business.
Yeah, I agree. We should stay the hell out of it. It's none of our business.
But I think it's instructive.
We got enough problems here.
No doubt. And the reason why I think it's important to talk about these secessionist movements is because I think decentralization is an important principle. That is to say, to get away from centralization of power, to decentralize that power, to put more power in the hands of the people and the smaller states, rather than having these big national governments having so much control over our lives. So whenever I see an area of a country like Catalonia wanting to secede from the larger nation that they're a part of, or maybe California seceding from the U.S., or Texas seceding from the U.S., or Cameroon or wherever, I think those are noteworthy stories, because I think that's one of the most important trends that we can have here in the the 21st century is political devolution or evolution, depending on how you want to look at it.
I also think that it's important that we discuss it to bring light to any violence that might occur and to prevent violence that may move forward. If secessions or political divisions can occur around the world without people dying, then more
thing.
Yeah, more people can get autonomy. More people will have the life that they want to have. Here in the United States, we think that people have to die if somebody talks about secession, and that's a real problem.
Nick?
I like the way you broke it down, guys.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Concern is growing in EU capitals about the impact of the crisis on the Spanish economy, the fourth largest in the Eurozone, and on possible spillovers to other economies. Some European officials are also worried that any softening in Spain's stance toward Catalan independence could fuel secessionist feelings among other groups in Europe, such as Belgium's Flemings and Italy's Lombards. Until the weekend, Rajoy has remained vague on whether he would take an unprecedented step of triggering Article 155 of the Constitution, the so-called nuclear option, which we'll tell you about coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and join us on the radio waves. Our number here is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 as the conflict in Catalonia is about to heat up again. I mean, it's been pretty heated up, but last week on Sunday they had a referendum vote that, well, the Spanish government really did not want them to have. They trotted in troops, floated them in on cruise ships, thousands of armed men and women calling themselves the police, coming in and literally stealing ballots before the vote, and then coming in and trying to lock up the voting locations, prohibiting people from coming into the location to actually cast a vote, and physically attacking those who actually did try to come into any of those locations and cast a vote. It was horrifying. And yet millions of people did successfully vote on Sunday, and they voted overwhelmingly to secede from Spain. Tomorrow, or Tuesday rather, late Tuesday, the one of the Catalan official types, his name Puigdemont, he is going to be Carles, rather. He's a Catalan leader there in the regional parliament. They're going to be meeting and possibly declaring independence from Spain, which leads to the next big question, and that is, according to the Reuters story here, Reuters.com, reporting about one of the Spanish loyalists in government there, Mariano Rajoy. He has remained vague on whether he would take the unprecedented step of triggering Article 155.
Now, this is what you call the nuclear option.
This is what they call the nuclear option. The Spanish Constitution, Article 155, enables him to sack the regional government and call a new local election. So basically it would come in there and essentially dissolve the so-called autonomous government of the Catalan region. So it's right there in the, the Constitution. Basically, if any of the regional governments start acting up, then we can just come on in there and wipe them out. So there is no leaving, according to their constitution, just like here in the United States.
I suspect Catalonia doesn't have its own military, and I suspect that Spain does.
However, if he was asked if he was...
I don't think the European Union will put up with that, but if it's done quickly enough, what are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do? And again, as it was pointed out before, the European Union, some of them don't want to see secession because they're worried that other countries' secessionist movements will be emboldened by that success, as they should be. And they don't want to see that happen.
I don't see the Netherlands rolling in troops.
However, asked if he was ready to do so, Rajoy told El País newspaper on Saturday, quote, "I don't rule anything out that is within the law. Ideally, we shouldn't have to take drastic solutions, but for that not to happen..."
Ideally, we shouldn't have to kill people.
Yeah. But for that not to happen, there would have to be changes, unquote. And by changes, he means you don't leave. You stay, you do what we say. You get back in line, or else.
So I don't know a great deal about, the Spanish Constitution or what the role of Catalonia is in Spain or anything like that. But what I see here is that they have enough of a movement that they could demand more autonomy for their autonomous region pretty handily, that the compromise would come down pretty quickly, if that makes sense. That they could say, well, look, we want to do this, that, or the other, whatever those things might be. What Spain truly wants is the
tax
money.
Dollars.
Right, the VAT. They want that VAT, the VAT dollars.
Value-added tax is what it's called. As though taxes add value.
Yeah. Well,
ridiculous.
We'll just call it a VAT then.
It just means that it's taxed at every step when value is added.
That's correct.
It's basically a sales tax, but a bit more than that too.
The manufacturing level, the wholesale level, the retail level, VAT is added all along the way.
Yeah. They want that tax, and Catalonia has a great, it's a prosperous place, so they have sort of statistically more VAT going on in their region than most regions of Spain, and Spain wants that. I don't know what Catalonia wants precisely, besides those dollars spent locally, but they do have a good opportunity to negotiate here.
Rajoy said he planned to leave in Catalonia the 4,000 national police that the government had shipped in for the referendum until the crisis was over. So all those cops...
The crisis is created by the cops.
Yeah. All those cops on the cruise ships, they're going to be sitting pretty.
It's a tax crisis, if it's a crisis at all.
Yeah, imagine how much money those cops are making. I mean, if they've been trucked in from other areas of the country, they're not easily able to go home.
You're going to make Catalonians pay for their own beatings.
He ruled out using mediators.
We're going to beat the Catalonians, and we're going to make them pay for it.
That's right. That's how it works.
Who's going to pay for it? The Catalans.
Yeah.
What are they going to pay for? The beatings.
He ruled out using mediators to resolve...
That's 10 more beatings.
It's funny here because we're not the ones being beaten.
That's true. It's true. Yeah.
He ruled out using mediators to resolve the crisis, by the way, something Puigdemont has said he's open to, and added the issue would not force a snap national election. Sunday's demonstration in Barcelona was organized by the anti-independence group Catalan Civil Society to mobilize what it believes is a silent majority that they say oppose independence. So far, though, the silent majority has not really shown themselves to be a majority. Only 350,000 of them came out today, and according to the article, not all of them were actually from the Catalan region.
Right.
Just like the police in the area are not from the region. The people who've come to demonstrate don't feel Catalan so much as Spanish, said 40-year-old engineer Raul Briones, wearing a Spanish national soccer team shirt. He says, quote, "We like how things have been up until now, and we want to go on like this."
It's interesting that they're using these soccer team shirts. So Catalonia has its soccer team. Spain has its soccer team. Why? I mean, it might leave an outsider believing that this is about soccer. I mean, I don't know whether that's the case, and I'm going to presume it's not, but
I sure hope not.
There should be something better than the soccer shirt going on here. I'm not going to show some kind of revolutionary spirit by wearing a Boston Red Sox jersey or something. Jersey might not be the right word.
Yeah,
Shirt.
I don't know.
Shirt.
Outfit. Finally, the rally was addressed by Nobel Prize winning novelist Mario Vargas Llosa, who has dual Spanish and Peruvian nationality. He told reporters it showed that many Catalans, quote, don't want the coup d'etat the Catalan government is fostering. So again, this is yet another situation that is potentially poised to boil over here within the next 48 hours as the Catalan regional government plans to meet and possibly declare its independence from Spain. You've got 4,000 armed shock troops that are waiting and patrolling the streets. They're on these very large cruise ships with Tweety Bird on the side of them and other Looney Tunes characters, just showing the absolute absurdity of this entire situation. In fact, Warner Brothers demanded that their characters be covered up because they didn't consent to having their characters be a part of a police state oppression.
You will not beat your people in the name of Tweety Bird.
Of Looney Tunes, right. So just a crazy situation. You're welcome to comment here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And it would be interesting, obviously a lot of Americans don't even know this situation is going on, which is one of the reasons why we're talking about it here, because frankly, it's much more interesting to me than whether some players are taking a knee during a football game or whatever the heck it is that, whatever mindless topic it is that the American news media is talking about tonight and this week. But, this is an important story, and it would be interesting to find out what Americans think. I mean, how do you weigh in on this? Do you think that do you support independence for the Catalans, or do you think that they should be forced to stay in?
Best I can tell, most Americans are for other countries, other regions being able to have their autonomy.
But does that hold true within America?
No, it doesn't.
So
once you start talking about changing around the stars and the flag, then
people freak out.
They get itchy. That's what the issue seems to be. It's all about those stars.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Johnny Ray been playing with magnets here the whole time. You want to weigh in on secession, Johnny Ray?
Democracy's for losers.
You don't vote. You are completely against voting.
I don't think that votes illustrate the will of the people.
What about people getting out into the streets?
No, I mean, that shows that a certain number of people want to go out into the streets, and that has some value.
Okay.
But
how can they illustrate their will if not through voting and going out into the streets? What else?
A mobile app that like my 411, what's it called?
Cell 411?
Yeah, Cell 411.
Now, how would that illustrate what they want exactly? How would other people become aware of that?
They become aware of it however you make people aware of it, through social media or however you try and get the word out for something.
Cell 411 is a great app. In fact, Mark, you're wearing the T-shirt tonight here. And get cell411.com. Great place to go and get that app.
Stop paying their taxes.
That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Yeah, people in Catalonia, these people who are willing to.
How do you do that?
And then you just
stop
app.
paying.
No, you don't. Not with a VAT. You don't.
Oh, good point. Yeah,
you stop buying things.
The companies would have to stop collecting it, right? That's risky because then they put their companies on the line. There's more coming up. Hour 3.
Attention type 2 diabetics. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA has warned that Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR and other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes cause an increased role in amputations of the toes, feet, and legs. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-475-7607. That's 800-475-7607. Again, 800-475-7607. Call now. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. www.injuryhelpdesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.83 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,276 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.2 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,462. Antiwar.com reports Spain's constitutional court does not appear to be having much luck stopping an imminent Catalan declaration of independence. After ruling on Thursday that the regional parliament will not be allowed to meet on Monday to declare independence, Catalonia looks to be doing an end around. They're going to make the announcement on Tuesday. Spain has been struggling to find roadblocks to put in the way of the independence declaration by Catalan President Carles Puigdemont, but suspending a Monday session that was never even officially announced appears to have been useless. Catalan officials say Puigdemont will be addressing Parliament Tuesday at 6 p.m., and members of Parliament are expecting that he will be submitting a declaration to the Assembly at that time. Members of the Catalan Parliament say the text of the declaration is still being debated, but that at this point there's no reason to expect any further delays. Spanish courts are unlikely to have time to try to block another session of Parliament before it takes place. Catalan voters overwhelmingly approved secession last weekend, and a violent crackdown by the Spanish police has only added to the calls to quickly split from Spain. Spanish officials insist the referendum did not count because the courts forbade it. Catalonia's leaders, however, maintain that the vote was valid and will stand. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a pair of Republican lawmakers are calling on the Trump administration to release all records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Representative Walter Jones of North Carolina introduced a resolution in the House that would call on President Donald Trump to allow the National Archives and Record Administration to release any remaining documents related to Kennedy's assassination in Dallas in 1963. Jones said in a release from his office, "To me, the tragedy that took place in Dallas continues to raise many questions that go unanswered. After 54 years, there's no reason, for the sake of honesty and integrity in America, that the facts of the JFK assassination should not be made public." A companion resolution was introduced in the Senate by Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa. The evidence surrounding JFK's assassination has long been fodder for conspiracy theorists who do not believe the conclusions reached in an 888-page report authored by then Chief Justice Earl Warren, which said Kennedy's killing was the work of a lone assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, who opened fire from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository on Kennedy's open-top limousine. The issue of still withheld JFK records was nearly put to bed in 1992 when former President George H.W. Bush signed legislation ordering all JFK-related records to be released. The legislation contained a loophole, however. Records were ordered released unless the strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise. The decision over which documents to keep classified lies solely with each subsequent occupant of the Oval Office. Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. And of course, it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com. Reuters reports a federal judge in Nevada postponed the trial of rancher Cliven Bundy for his role in an armed standoff with U.S. government agents after defense lawyers argued that the Las Vegas mass shooting could influence jurors. The case against Bundy stems from a 2014 situation in which he is alleged to have led a revolt against federal authorities at his ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada, about 75 miles northeast of Las Vegas. Brett Whipple told Reuters that U.S. District Judge Gloria Navarro in Las Vegas granted the delay for Bundy and several co-defendants, including his son, who are accused of conspiracy, assault, and other charges. The trial was set to begin next week in Las Vegas federal court, and Navarro granted a delay until October 30th. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Now, a lot of little girls do ballet even though their fathers couldn't care less and don't see what the big deal is. But one talented little prodigy actually choreographed a whole ballet that her father could enjoy and even look forward to. Let's meet Erin Kemper and her father, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Erin, how did you do that?
I thought about all the things that my dad likes to watch and put it into a ballet.
Well, we have a special treat for you today because Erin is now going to perform her new ballet. When I pay the bills, I get to make the rules.
We can't afford that. World War II. I miss your mother too, but we're going to have to do the best without her. Go Redskins!
Bravo! Well done. Boy, I wish you were mine. You know, my two girls are grown up, but you still couldn't pay me to watch one of their a cappella shows. What inspired you to create this amazing ballet?
I'm really inspired by the theme of my dad paying any attention to me at all.
Now, at the end, I hear she just put the game up on the big screen.
I don't know where she gets it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us on the radio waves. Take control of those airwaves toll free at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so feel free to Skype on in at Skype username LRN.FM. Mark, coming up, you're going to tell us a story that you found on Facebook that you believe, but we can't say from whom it's coming.
That's right.
So we believe this is not just some random post on Facebook. It's something that has some legitimacy to it, and some people will be shocked by it.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's coming up here in moments. It has to do with government schools. That's on the way, but let's change gears here. We've been talking a lot about independence. Let's get into Jonny Ray's game of the moment, where you've been playing a game pretty, I guess, heavily for the last couple of days, Jonny Ray. You wanted to tell us about Stormbound.
Yeah, it's a mobile game. It's available for Android and iOS, and I really have very little confidence whenever I go looking for Android games.
Just because they're all crap, or what?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
I've never had any Apple hardware, so my understanding is that the iOS marketplace is better for this kind of thing, but I don't know. I've had a lot of different Android games, and the overwhelming majority of them are forgettable.
Yeah.
They appeal to one's baser desires.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you get like a lot of sex and violence, and
sex
cleavage
games for Android
and so forth.
Yeah, you're seeing other games besides me, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, Kate Upton is the face of Clash of Clans, I think, or Kingdom at War.
Who's that? Who's that, a model or something?
Yeah, she's like a Sports Illustrated model.
I see.
Okay.
So I rarely go to the Google Play Store looking for games
because you don't expect to find anything worthwhile.
Right.
Okay.
But I was looking through it the other day, and I found this game called Stormbound, and it's a collectible card game.
You love these games.
The game that I play, 99% of my game time is spent playing Hearthstone, which is a game by Blizzard. It's a
You've been
collectible
playing that for
card.
years. Hearthstone.
I have, haven't I?
Yeah.
It's a collectible card game, sort of on the Magic the Gathering model.
Right.
And
you're battling some other player.
Yeah, it's
for defeat.
It's your portrait versus their portrait. You start with 30 hit points, and you just play minions,
monsters, or whatever
out in front of you in a line, and it's one dimensional. Position matters, but it's only left and right. The interactions between the cards you play are only important as far as left or right.
Okay.
But there have been some iterations on this. There was a game called Duelist that was a collectible card game, but you were playing your minions onto a two-dimensional space and like a chessboard. And that's what Stormbound is, but Stormbound is very casual. It loses some of the mechanics in your typical card games, like your hand size. One of the tried and true ways to succeed in a card battler is to have more cards in your hand.
You have more options than the other player.
Precisely. Now, Stormbound, you always at the beginning of your turn, you've always got a full hand of cards.
Okay.
In Stormbound, you've got a 12-card deck, and whenever you play a card, basically it seems to get shuffled back into your deck. So you never run out of cards.
Right. 12-card deck, I mean, that's pretty small compared to a lot of these card games where you can have 50, 60, 100-card decks.
Yeah, and
does that make it easier to design a deck, or is there any designing going on in this game?
There's certainly designing going on, and I think it makes it easier. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is a game for stupid people.
Okay.
That this is a card game for stupid people.
What was the name of it again?
Stormbound.
Called Stormbound.
Because it can be a little overwhelming. Like, you introduced me to this other game, which was based on the Elder Scrolls, another game series, which traditionally has been a first-person kind of hack-and-slash fantasy game. But they made a battling card game out of it to kind of compete with Hearthstone. I played that one a little bit. I haven't played Hearthstone. But there's so many cards. You know, it's hard to, like, they want you to build this deck on your own to where, you know, you can go and then fight other players with it. But unless you're really experienced at the game, you don't know what half the cards in the game are. And so it can be a bit of an overwhelming kind of thing to try to get in there and build a 60-card deck out of a bunch of cards you don't really know what they are. So you have to like spend time looking at each one and what does each of them do, and then you have to think about how those interact with the other cards in your deck. The whole building a deck thing is almost a huge task on its own if that's what you want to get into and not like use pre-built decks.
Yeah, this game
and these other games.
Sure.
Yeah.
Stormbound has, like I say, it's played on a two-dimensional space. So the game board is it's like a checkerboard. It's a 4 by 5 dimensions board, placed long ways between you and your opponent.
Yep.
And you begin, and you're able to play your dudes onto the first row, the row closest to you.
Okay.
And then once you play them, every turn thereafter, as long as they've survived to the next turn, they'll move forward one space
toward the enemy.
Yeah, and they sort of push forward a line of scrimmage, as in like football. You know, in football, you move the ball 10 yards down the field, and then the next play you start
that's the
from
new
there.
place. Yeah, okay.
Right, and you're and your minions are slowly marching towards the other side of the board, and if they can reach the other side, then they will do damage to your opponent. He starts with 10. You start with 10.
I thought it was 12.
No, it's 10.
Okay.
10. And it interestingly about this game, it can go on for a long time because if you reset the board state, so if you've got if your opponent has filled up the board, he's got an advantage over you with
more
minions,
monsters, stronger
more monsters, and you are able to stabilize or equalize the situation between you, then you're even again. In some of these other games, there are some other things going on. Like I said before, your hand size. Maybe in a game like Hearthstone, you're able to stabilize, but you have to dump your whole hand to do it.
Then you're at a disadvantage.
Exactly. But with this game, it can just keep going and going, because if you can equalize, your hand fills up the next turn. You never run out of cards. You're always just cycling through your cards again.
Does it get dull? I mean, is it like a grind at some point, or is it always fresh, even though you're only dealing with 10 cards per side?
Well, I've been playing for 2 days only, and it hasn't gotten dull yet. I'm wanting to get back to it as we speak.
Right. Sorry to keep you from it.
No problem. Now, I read an article, another review about this game today, and this writer, he said, hey, it's a great game, but they have got a freemium model,
right?
Where it's a free-to-play game, but he says that if you want to be able to compete, then you've got to spend money on it.
And well, that's the way a lot of these games are, right?
Yeah,
they want you to buy the stuff.
Yeah, I haven't spent money on Hearthstone in quite a while, and I believe that to be a situation where you can just play and get that in-game currency and build your available.
You can get the good
collection.
Cards. You can get the improved cards without having to throw down a credit card number, is what you're saying. You can just win matches and get points, and then those points you can redeem for other cards.
I want to know what's wrong with Plants vs. Zombies. That's real entertainment.
Is that a card game?
No.
Oh, no. They actually, Plants vs. Zombies has a card battler for your mobile device.
It does?
It does, yeah. It's been out for a year or so. I had that, but I didn't like it because it was
I don't know what it is.
They were releasing new content that was stale.
Let's continue here. I don't even know what it is. It's Free Talk Live. You tell me. Coming up.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.LRN.FM. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.LRN.FM.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free and join us on the radio waves. Our number here, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio here tonight, you've got Ian,
Jonny Ray,
and Mark.
We can talk more about Jonny Ray's game of the moment. It is Stormbound, and you can weigh in with your thoughts. You can also bring up anything you want. Plus, Mark, you're going to share with us a Facebook post that you say was pretty shocking. We'll get to that coming up here. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. And I do want to let you know how to get into mining Bitcoin. You can do it easily by going to pool.bitcoin.com. Forget about the costs, constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance that you would normally have to engage in if you were running your own Bitcoin mining operation. Instead, you can just do it easily by investing over at pool.bitcoin.com like Mark and I have done. There's a 100% uptime guarantee, and their website's super easy to use, and it allows you to easily calculate what you could make based on what you use to invest over at pool.bitcoin.com. That's pool.bitcoin.com. As we go to your calls. What's that?
Ian-san, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I wanted to say just two more things about this game. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's the art style is understated, but you can tell that it's got very high production value.
Lovingly crafted. Mm-hmm.
Well put.
Okay.
It is a player versus player game.
So is there no computer to practice against?
There is, okay. And there is a short campaign to play.
Got it.
But if like me, I now have what is essentially an unlimited data plan. I get I get 4G for for a certain amount of data, and then I get bumped down to a slower speed.
Right.
But they never cut me off.
Have you ever been bumped down? Have you ever noticed that happen?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
But if before when I had
a card game shouldn't use a lot of data anyway, so I don't think you have to worry about it.
You've got something there. Yeah. But I had Hearthstone on my phone, and I removed it because it did have. If I wanted to play against somebody, then I had to use some data, and but now that I have a new situation, I'm able to play these games again. But cool. I did want to say it is a player versus player game, so if you're in a situation where data is an issue, then it might not be the game for you.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of player versus player, but for whatever reason, I just never get to that part. Like with the card game that I was playing with the Legends of whatever, Elder Scrolls. I went through the campaign and then I just stopped there. I didn't actually bother getting into the player versus player. Is there a lot of are most of them pretty responsive, or is there a lot of players that'll just sit there and take their sweet time and like I probably would if I were in a player versus player.
If it's not happening pretty quick, I'm going to be looking at something else, and then I'm not going to see that they've moved and. Yeah,
and then it's your turn, but your time runs out. Or does that happen a lot? Or everybody pretty good at playing these games?
Well, every one of these games that I've played does have some kind of time limit.
Right.
This Stormbound has a pretty short time limit relative to the other games I've played. But people will, if you want to be an a-hole, you can figure out some way to be an a-hole, and in, like, for example, in Hearthstone, people will wait until the very last moment. If they don't like you for whatever reason, they will play. Yeah, they'll make their turns last as long as possible.
Let's go. So the game again, Stormbound. You say it is available on Android, also iOS?
Yes.
Okay. So check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Let's go to Johnny. He's on the line in Auburn, New York, listening to WAUB. Go ahead, Johnny. Hello, Johnny.
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
hello?
Sir. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
Yes, okay. Listen, I talked last night, and I had a wonderful time, but you were right. I was all over the place, and I do apologize, sir.
No worries. What were you calling about tonight?
Well, tonight, first of all, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to say that you were talking about crazy people driving yesterday, and I got to thinking about that. And the last thing you said to me was when we hung up, you said, "Now, there's no requirement for sanity on this program," which implied that I was insane. So I took it as you called me insane. I couldn't sleep last night. So I'm going to call that guy back. He said I could. I'm going to call him back. I'm excited. So.
Well, that's completely sane. Go ahead.
I'm in a great mood. And yesterday I wanted to hit on that because I never really finished my points of interest. You were talking about people with disabilities. They should have their own job because they can't get fired. And I said yesterday, and one guy called from North Carolina, Mark was his name, and he said that guy had 14 jobs he got 4 in the last hour. I added how many jobs I got. I have 112 businesses. I've created a successful model. I'm an assessor. I assess a problem. I implement it, and I'm very bad socially. I have a hard time talking on the phone, as you can see, but I'm very intelligent. So This is what I'm trying to say. I'm encouraging people who have disabilities, because I wrote a book on autism. And I'll be the #1 seller for that company probably within 18 months. It's called The Autistic Holocaust, and I would encourage you to Google that or just look. Don't even buy the book, but if you do, half that money goes to the E. John Galra Center. They're the only ones.
So we're not here to have people call and plug their businesses and books. So what's the point of your call?
I'm not even calling for that. The point of my call is I want to pick up on the disabilities and help people. I'm encouraging people to start their own business because I've done it successfully, and I have people that work for me. I live on 3% of my income, and God just blesses me richly in everything I do. So I don't do anything that's not kind or true or necessary. None of that.
Well, that's wonderful, and I think that people should start their own businesses.
It affords a great deal of freedom.
It's if you can, yeah. I mean,
and it's freedom. You know what freedom is? True freedom. And you say, "Why am I living in Auburn?" I'll tell you why I live in Auburn. Because for me to move to Keene, New Hampshire is kind of like me going ice fishing, urinating in my pants to keep warm. It sounds good at first, but after a while, it's a disaster. I've got everything I need here. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, we didn't ask you to move to Keene, so it's okay.
No, but you said, "Well, why am I?"
We only want libertarians moving to Keene. I don't know if you're a libertarian.
Oh no! Wait a minute. I am a libertarian. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'm a theologian. Let me just slow down.
A libertarian and a theologian? What is a theologian?
That's an expert on religions.
Okay.
So I'm an expert on all religions.
All of them?
All of them,
That's
sir.
pretty impressive.
I've got a PhD doctorate in several disciplines. I'm very intelligent. But it's so hard being this smart.
It must be. I mean, having to tell everybody all the time how smart you are. Man, that's a burden. Thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Yeah, if it's not self-evident, you've got to tell everybody, apparently.
Mark, which Japanese automaker is named after a Persian and I think Zoroastrian god?
The automaker? Is this a brand or
yeah, it's a brand.
Model? Okay.
Is it sold in the U.S.?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Honda.
I'm going to say Mazda.
Mazda, correct. Ahura Mazda.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know if that's true.
Mark is our resident theologian.
Took me a second to run.
Yeah, but you're smarter than him, Johnny Ray. Will's saying something in the background. Will Coley preparing for his show, The Call to Freedom, which, by the way, reminds me there's good news, actually, about the fundraiser that we put together. We can share that coming up with you here in moments. We have reached the goal, and there's now a new goal. So we'll tell you about that, which you can learn more over at freekeen.com. But also on the way, Mark, you've got a Facebook post that is an outrageous post, a story that we believe is a true one because it's coming from somebody who's close to the show, but we can't say who it is.
It's true, and I'm a super genius.
All right, there's more coming up here. In moments, it's Free Talk Live.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people, exchanging skills and services. From web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves by dialing in toll-free at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Johnny Ray,
and Mark.
And we'll take your calls and thoughts about what you want. Coming up, Mark, you're going to share with us an outrageous story from somebody who shared that with us on Facebook that wants to remain nameless, but we'll get into that coming up here in moments. First, let's go to the phones, to the fun. Sarah is on the line in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes, I heard this show called Alternative Radio, and it's on the Progressive University station called the KNE here. But what I want to say was it was a whole hour of a socialist at a socialist convention talking about the Bolshevik revolution.
Okay.
So, my whole point
Sounds
is...
awful.
Well, the thing is that, like I said, it's a communist radio station.
So you're a college station?
Yeah, it's a college station.
That figures.
And then during the morning...
Because, college students don't know anything about the real world, so of course they believe in socialism.
Well, the thing is, it was the same... Well, that's where they have the NPR. The only NPR news
And you
I
also
get
don't
is
know
on
anything
that
about the
station.
real world because you've never actually, had a job or done anything meaningful as far as work, right?
Well, the thing is, I know that disability is part of the communist program, and I think that's the reason why I am a communist, because they take care of the handicapped people, and this disability is like making everybody the same, making everybody equal.
Have you ever heard of the VA
equally.
hospitals?
Yes.
Do you know what they are?
Yeah.
It's like socialism.
Right. Well, everything about the military is like communism, and then they go out and fight communists.
So
everything that you get is socialistic.
Do you understand the military doesn't create anything of value, though? It has to get its money and its funding from outside, and that's what I think the best critique of socialism is the Margaret Thatcher quote, which is socialism's great but sooner or later you run out of other people's money.
Right, I brought up the hospitals because they are an example of what it's like when the government doles out things like health care. That's why you see these military members, former military, being treated like garbage at many of these hospitals. They are frightened to death of going and seeing these doctors, some of them believing that the doctors are actually trying to kill them rather than trying to help them. There are lines that take forever for people to actually get seen and have their problems dealt with, if they're even dealt with in an acceptable manner that doesn't endanger that person's lives or that person's life. Let alone the some of the hospitals themselves just being absolutely filthy and in terrible shape. This is the kind of thing you want for everybody, right?
Well, the thing is, how come we're holding on to Obamacare, though? Obamacare
I'm not holding
is
on to anything.
No, Obamacare is a forced mandate to purchase health care. So I wouldn't call it socialist.
Purchase insurance.
It's more fascistic than anything.
Are you a fascist too?
To me, well, Rush Limbaugh always has called them a communist. He used to go to Communist Party meetings, and Obamacare is a communist healthcare system.
No, it's not. No, a communist healthcare system would be more like a single-payer system where the government is the only agency from which you can receive health services from. That's not what Obamacare does.
Obamacare is where the government forces you to buy something from a private seller.
Right, that's fascism, isn't it?
Let's use a single payer as an example here, Sarah. If you want to get, in the case of Obamacare, if you want to get free health care in this country, you basically have to make too little, which too little money to sort of have to pay for your own.
Like Sarah.
Yeah, like Sarah.
Like myself, yeah, that's right. I'm on Medicaid or Medicare, right?
On everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had health care before this came along. This is for the sort of the gappers, as it were. But that it really disincentivizes labor. So, for instance, if I'm one of those people who's in the middle, I don't want to make more money and then move to the point where I have to pay for my own insurance. I just want to continue to make the same amount of money. So I'm not going to work harder and try to achieve more and all those other things. See, wealth is an indication, at least that you've done something inside the marketplace. There's other ways to achieve, but, marketplace and making money, it's an indication of success. And don't we want success, Sarah?
Well, the thing is, I think that all this thing is to protect the workers. As far as I'm concerned, it's like you're right. You're right. If you work yourself to death, you don't get you get
so you like
cut
the
off
maxim.
From all of this,
you like the communist maxim: "He who doesn't work doesn't eat." Right? You like that?
Well, I eat. I don't have a job. I just call on the radio show and
that's a communist maxim.
I believe so.
Because
I don't. You know what? And by the way, I think I am working because I'm teaching people about communism. Because disability and Social Security is communism.
You don't even really seem to know what communism. I mean, can you define communism? Because you thought Obamacare was communistic, and it's not.
Well, then how come Rush Limbaugh has always called him a communist? It's a social.
Why would you believe Rush Limbaugh? Is Rush Limbaugh the arbiter of all things that are communist? You think Rush Limbaugh is an expert on communism?
Well, then how come he has a show for 3 hours, prime time?
Anybody can get a show on radio. If you've got enough money, you can have your own show on the radio, too.
Well, the thing is that the fact is that...
What is communism? What is it?
Well, it's a sickle and hammer. It's to,
That's the logo.
Defend the workers. Like, I supported the 6-day pay leave. That's very communist.
You're talking about sort of issues. You're talking about issues that some communist people have taken up. But what is communism?
Well, communism is making everybody equal.
Okay.
Like I get upset. People that get Social Security.
Do you think that you can really do that? That people can be made equal? Do you think that that's really something that you can do?
Well, that's the idea. Is to share the wealth amongst equally.
Well, now wait a minute. Isn't sharing something that's done voluntarily?
Well, in a communist system, it is done voluntarily.
When has that ever been the case?
Then what do they need guns for?
Well, you know what? Look. I'm supporting 6-day pay leave. Did I shoot anybody? Did I stab anybody?
Nope, that's true. You have not. You have not.
It was lobby. It was to help the workers.
But in order to get people to give their money to other people, distribute it evenly or fairly or whatever you would call it amongst all people, you're going to have to use force. Somebody, maybe not you, but your men with guns and women with guns will have to use force to force the reticent people, those who don't want to go along with your plan because they don't agree with it. Maybe they want to keep the money they earned and decide for themselves how to give it away.
Some people like to work for 7 days a week.
Sure.
And
12 hours a day, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's up to them, but why do they make it seem like that's the way that everybody else has to
But
work?
it's not up to them. If you create a rule, if you create a law that says that there's only 40 hours in the work week or 4 days or 5 days or whatever, or 6, then those other companies will have to enforce that rule on people that want to work more, and they won't be able to work 7 days. So you're stopping them from having that freedom.
Well, the thing is, one thing about the radio, the show that I listened to, there was a lot of people killed on both sides. The Tsar had killed the people when they were not successful. But you're right. It was a lot of people murdered, having a revolution.
That's what happens. When you try to force your way on people and they don't like it, then they refuse to obey, and then people have to pull out guns. Stop using violence. Stop using force. Stop trying to press your opinion on other people. Thank you for the call tonight, Sarah. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. An outrageous story about a government school. Mark, you're going to share that with us coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. It is the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live, and our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, 855-450-3733. Take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown. But these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The Crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the Crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the Crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the Crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the Crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Calling it the most effective means to reaching one's full earning potential. A new report issued by the Employee Benefit Research Institute this week found that violently slamming one's supervisor against a wall and shouting, "Cash, I need more cash," is still the leading tactic for securing a raise amongst American workers.
We found that employees have the most success negotiating their salaries when they stride confidently into their supervisor's office, manhandle them like a rag doll, and demand more money right now.
Experts confirmed that the majority of employees who managed to increase their salaries maintained direct eye contact with their supervisors while reiterating that they were not f***ing around, emphasizing their position with phrases such as, "Give me the money now," and "I said more cash, old man." The Onion sat down with Kevin Simmons, who recently applied these methods in negotiating a competitive bump in his annual salary.
So the other day I walked right into his office, grabbed his throat with my hand, and told him straight up, "Start paying me more f***ing money today." And I grabbed $100 out of his wallet and told him that was a good start.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. If you dial now, you can join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can go and get interactive over at freetalklive.com. And you can amp the program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's $5 a month. And we'll take that $5 in and invest it into Free Talk Live, getting on more radio stations around the country, bringing new internet listeners on board, and exposing new people to the ideas of freedom, as well as Johnny Ray's favorite games. So go to the AMP page, and you can get signed up there with a credit card, PayPal, Bitcoin. It's your choice. You get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, which may or may not be where this story is coming from, Mark, that you're going to share with us from somebody who did not want to be revealed. So, right. Anyway, amp.freetalklive.com. We'll get to the story here in a moment. Timothy's in Virginia Beach. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Johnny, Ray, and Mark. Timothy?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
How are you?
Great.
Hey,
go.
listen, I was calling about the disability benefits and everything.
Yeah.
Try to make it brief. Long story short, I worked all my life, a lot of long-term jobs. I never had any problems. I got hurt on the job. My back gave out on me. Basically, in a nutshell, I get the same disability benefits as the guy who drank and drugged himself into a basket case.
Mm-hmm.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Sure. So what's the incentive to succeed in life if all you get is the same as what they give to somebody else who's a total loser?
Right. None.
Well, besides the personal success of whatever comes from that. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's. I don't want to use the word unfair. It gets thrown around too much. But it just don't seem right to me that I don't even have a doctor because no one takes the insurance.
The government insurance.
I lost my the Medicaid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The doctors quit accepting. I don't want to name the insurance people, but they were under the government handout, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, a lot of doctors won't take the government programs because they don't want to deal with the paperwork. They don't want to, deal with the hassles. They'd rather be cash doctors. We're starting to see a movement towards that. I think that's a good thing ultimately.
You paid your whole life so that people who, were using the system, whether they're using it properly or improperly, you paid your whole life for it, and then when the time comes for you to use it, it doesn't work for you. And then what can you do? Like, there's not much anybody can do, No,
I'm on this merry-go-round. It just, I can't get off of it. I can't even, rent an apartment. You're not allowed to have but $2,000 in your bank account. If you have more, they take it away. Serious.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep, you're only allowed to have $2,000.
If you're on the disability program?
Yes, sir.
So basically you're just a total serf. You're totally owned by the state.
Forced into this position. And listen, man, I live in a tent. I've been this way since I got on the disability. I was told over and over and time again that when you get your stuff from the government, all your disability and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, this is what it looks like, the government taking care of you. I mean, just as an example for our last caller, here you go. Not that Sarah's listening because she only ever listens when she's on hold. But an example for anybody out there who calls themselves a communist and believes that the government's going to take care of people. Here's a guy who worked hard, ended up on disability, and now he's living in a tent. Timothy, thanks for the call. I appreciate you sharing your story tonight.
Listen, I just wanted to say that's what plucked my nerve when she said that. Oh, wow, I had to disagree with that.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the expertise tonight.
Have a good night.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, so there's an example. Man living in a tent because he's on disability because
his nerves plucked.
He can't have more than $2,000 in a bank account at any time. You cannot get ahead. It's against the rules.
There was a time I was a junior manager for a janitorial company, and I was looking to hire people. And in this industry, mentally disabled people can be the cream of the crop, the best employees you will ever have, because they take more pride in their work than quote unquote normal people.
They don't mind scrubbing a toilet.
No, not a bit. But but there was a young man that I had hired, and I would have loved to have this guy take over several accounts, but he couldn't do it because he was on disability, and they only allowed him to work a certain number of hours per week.
So he was able physically to do the job, but could not because of the government's restrictions.
Right.
It's pathetic.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. They cannot let you get, like, it makes sense. You don't want to give a bunch of free money to people who have a bunch of money, but at the same time, you can't achieve when you're getting these programs that are intended to help people that are poor get ahead. It just doesn't make any sense.
So what happened with this Facebook post?
Well, it's a Facebook post here, and it says talking about what happened with a friend's daughter, my friend's daughter at school. Things like this make me rethink having my kids in public school. My friend's daughter and two other friends, one of whom happens to be black, were making little origami birds and claws. My friend's daughter drew a little face on one of them and stuck it on the end of a pencil. The teacher saw it, and immediately the internal social justice alarm started blaring. She had to act fast. They were sent to the principal's office, where each girl was questioned. And then in the office, with two guidance counselors, the principal, vice principal, the teacher, proceed to abuse their power towards these girls to the first degree. You see, the pencil topper looked like a hate symbol. It resembled the hood of a KKK member. Symbols of hate will not be tolerated in our school. So did you ever make these sort of origami things where, like, you...
I remember having, like...
the claws and
I remember being aware of origami, but they always seemed very complicated.
Well, these were the easiest. To make the claws was just these little... They look like KKK hoods, honestly.
But aren't those hoods used for other things that aren't KKK?
What do you mean?
I saw something recently where what looked like KKK hoods were like some
Spanish Catholic ministers,
something
preachers.
Like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that generally here in the United States, when you see something that looks like a KKK hood,
one of them was being made by a black student.
Yeah, I think this was just they were making
claws.
The claws,
Okay.
and you have to know about this. They basically make these little cones that you stick on your fingers.
Sure.
And you
Kids
make
love
these
that crap.
Yeah, that's neat.
So
Neat
what
to have
happened?
Claws. The girls were asked if they knew about the KKK and what it stood for. My friend's daughter knew that it was a racist group, but the other two girls, including the black girl, didn't know. One of the authoritarians asked if she wanted to know. The black girl said, "Not really." The authoritarian then proceeded to tell her anyway. Wanting to protect her friend, my friend's daughter tried to stop them. When questioned separately, none of the girls had a clue that the origami bird represented a KKK uniform hood. One of the girls was asked if she could see how this object would hurt someone. She said, "I don't know.
No.
It has corners, so maybe it could jab somebody, I guess."
Wow.
All these girls were crying. My friend's daughter was having a panic attack.
How old were these kids? Elementary?
These kids. There's young girls.
Okay.
They don't say. Exactly. Elementary is the impression I get.
Okay.
All three girls were crying, and my friend's daughter was having a panic attack. And my friend said that the girls were ultimately not punished other than being interrogated severely.
Sure.
And it was
That's a scary
misunderstanding,
experience.
but most likely because they knew that it was a stupid thing in the first place and that they didn't want to draw any more attention to something so asinine. They told these girls that they need to be sensitive to how these things can be interpreted from other people's perspective. So, I mean, how are people who don't know what a KKK hood
supposed to be sensitive
that they might be making something that could be construed as a KKK hood? And should we now be careful of all white sheets? I mean, exactly what is the problem, and how much do we have to dance around things like this? I don't know. I mean, it just seems maybe the teacher should have just swallowed it and let these girls play with whatever they're playing with. Maybe,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like a real teaching moment as far as, they weren't interested in knowing what the KKK was. They didn't know what it was. Right. What do they really need to know? I mean, it's just a hate group that's pretty much out of style.
Really important that you know, though. There's history involved here.
Although, I think that the lesson here is that as the person who wrote this pointed out, it's time to reconsider keeping your kids in government school, because this is just the beginning. I mean, it's going to get worse from here on out.
I don't think necessarily everybody's going to deal with the worst of government school, but it's something that you're exposed to. It could very well happen.
I'd say get your kids out of the government schools as soon as you possibly can. Get them away from this nonsense. And we're out of time tonight. We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, you can join us at freetalklive.com. Check out the good news over at freekeen.com about our matching fundraiser for Will Coley's mosque. We'll see you tomorrow.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com. Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 8th.